Welcome back, YouTube, to another reaction video. Here we got the food theory, the disturbing lore of Chuck E. Cheese. Man, Chuck E. Cheese, a lot of memories, a lot of memories. Ah, man. I hope this one doesn't scar me too bad, especially since I love Chuck E. Cheese and their pizza is so good. So I wonder what they don't talk. I wonder what they're gonna talk about in this video. But without further ado, let's get into it.
For years, we've been terrified of animatronics. But have you ever once considered that maybe, just maybe, the animatronics are the ones who should be afraid of us? Hello, Internet! Welcome to Food Theory, the show that knows that you can't spell animatronic without P-I-Z-Z-A. Hold on. In case you're new here, let me catch you up. I like pizza, I like animatronics, and I like
I don't like
murder.
that one.
Alright, probably should have phrased that last one better, but you know what? We're just gonna roll with it. Anyway, there's a natural order to the universe that says whenever robotic animals are inside a dining establishment, horrible tragedy shall follow. Enter Chuck E. Cheese. Since opening back in 1977, Chuck E. Cheese has been the fever dream of kids everywhere. The place is basically a 6-year-old's equivalent of having a birthday in Vegas. Another round of sodas over here, because somebody just set a new high score in Whack-A-Frog, and I am rolling in those tickets, baby! Here's a token for your trouble, sweetums. Also, while you're at it, hit me up with some of those balls. I got a date with Big Bertha tonight. That's the arcade game where you throw balls into a woman's mouth until she reaches the point of obesity. Candy, games, pizza, I mean, what's not to love?
They had those back then? Wow, Chuck E. Cheese has been around for a while.
Oh yeah, them. See, Chuck E. Cheese was the creation of Nolan Bushnell, co-founder of the video game company Atari. The idea was to create a restaurant that doubled as a carnival, a place where families could play together while also experiencing the newfangled entertainment medium of video games for the first time. The reason for it being a pizza place was threefold. Pizza was easy to make and required few ingredients. It took a while to cook, which allowed families to spend time playing games. And 3, you can't really screw up pizza.
Facts.
Until, of course, your restaurant produces some misshapen pies and is suddenly suspected of recycling old slices from other tables.
Yeah.
Something that we've talked about in a previous episode. If you go check it out, make
That's
sure you
gross.
say hi to Amy down in the comments. She'll appreciate it. She was a trooper for testing out way too many pizzas in that episode. Anyway, the animatronic performers that became synonymous with Chuck E. Cheese were more of a byproduct of Nolan's fascination with Disney, specifically the Country Bear Jamboree show. Clearly, the strategy was working for Walls over at his Disneyland park, so why not bring those same robots to budget-conscious families that wanted entertainment but couldn't make it all the way out to Southern California? And the rest, as they say, is history, living on in the collective nightmares of 80s-era children and Gen Z indie horror games. Eventually, home video game consoles, as well as the lackluster, potentially recycled...
It's crazy because I'm kind of in like the middle of that generation gap, so I experienced a little bit of that era, and now transferring to this generation. It's like, ah, man, you could just see the progression.
They got the better of the franchise, and it went bankrupt in 2020, nearly $1 billion in debt. I think most of us are aware of at least some... Bankrupt in 2020, nearly $1 billion...
Wow, I did not know this. Oh, gotta find out what happened.
Dollars in debt.
Gotta find out what
Most
happened.
of us are aware of at least some part of that story, right? But what I think you may not know is the lore of these characters. Because there is lore, and let me tell you, it is dark. For years, we've been talking about how scary Chuck E. Cheese is, but in reality, Chucky isn't the one on stage that you should be most afraid of. In fact, once you know the real story, it's clear that Chucky is the actual victim here. A literal hostage.
I was never scared of Chuck E. Cheese. I was never scared of that animatronic until I started seeing videos about it, and just how they was like just taking it. Some of it was out of proportion. Some of it was like funny, like type of horror type vibe, but there was some truth to it. I feel like there was some truth to the company itself.
that's being forced to stand up on stage and perform. And when he stops, he dies. So grab a napkin and start dabbing up the excess grease off your misshapen pizza as I tell you the tragic tale of Chucky and the man who's murdering his co-stars. Our story begins with a coyote. You see, Nolan Bushnell's Family Carnival restaurant wasn't always meant to have a rodent as their mascot. As the story goes, the main mascot was originally meant to be a coyote. But when Bushnell learned that the costume that he had bought for his main character was actually that of a rat, well, he had to do some quick thinking. He decided to rebrand the entire thing from Coyote Pizza to Rick Rat's Pizza. Now, obviously, that's going to cause you a couple of problems since, I don't know about you, but most restaurants don't really want to associate with rats.
Exactly.
So his marketing team suggested doing something that they thought might be a bit more appealing to hungry customers. Chuck E. Cheese. Sure, he's still a rat, but now at least they're not throwing the fact that he's a disease-ridden rodent in your face. Apparently, they went with Chuck E. Cheese as the name because it forced people to smile when they said it. So let's be honest, forcing a smile is about as much happiness as you're going to find in this place anyway, so good call! It's also worth noting that Chucky didn't start off as the hip skateboarding mouse that he is today. Instead, he was a rat from New Jersey, smoking a cigar and roasting the other members of the animatronic cast. A collection of characters that feels so random it was like they were playing a drunken game of Mad Libs. You have yourself a chef, a dog, a pig.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, if I would have seen this back then, this is scary to me. These two, mostly. Cause like, what is this? What is this? She looked like that, Picky from the Muppets. But like, just pink. It's gross.
Alright, all that makes sense. But also a purple alien, the moon, a lineup of singing mops, a literal building, a hippo with jiggle physics, and an old man known simply as Mr. Cooch. Part of the reason so many feel out...
Mr. Cute? Hold on, say that again.
An old man known simply as Mr. Cooch. Part of the reason...
Mr. Cooch.
So many feel out of place here is that they were obtained from a rival animatronic pizza place and then retrofitted into the style of Chuck E. Cheese. And let me tell you, the videos online of how to restyle these characters is scarier than anything FNAF has produced in the last 7 years.
Welcome to the Concept Unification Installation Tape. This tape is meant to supplement the installation manual, not replace it. Now Mitzi, starting with her sweater, wig, dicky, mask, ears, pigtail mount, hands, skirt, shoes, and leg fur.
So that's the origins of Charles Entertainment Cheese and his gang of mascots, but what about the actual lore here? Well, back in June of 2017, the news blog Insider reached out to CEC Entertainment, Chuck E. Cheese's parent company, to see if Charles Entertainment Cheese was indeed the character's official name. Christelle DuPont, public relations manager for CEC Entertainment, informed them that since there was never a birth certificate, the company couldn't actually be sure. Which, I mean, I guess, but also, I don't think that's the way it works here. Show me Ronald McDonald's birth certificate. Is the Burger King truly royalty, or is he merely a usurper to the throne? Anyway, while she couldn't officially answer the name question, she did point everyone to an online book detailing Chuck E. Cheese's backstory. And this is a treasure trove of information that will blow your mind. As the story goes, Chucky was an orphan mouse at the St. Marinara orphanage. He loved to sing happy birthday to all the other orphans. In a cruel twist, because he was an orphan, no one actually knew his birthday, so they just gave up. No one even bothered to try and find it or give him an honorary birthday or anything, because that's what happens when you're an orphan. Hard knock life and all that. TLDR, no one ever sang or celebrated for the mouse.
It's a hard knock life for us.
Outside of singing and orphan, Chuck had 2 other defining character traits. He loved pizza and playing Pong. Thank you, Daddy Atari. That skill set is totally gonna age well. But, of course, because he was an orphan, he was constantly struck by the feeling that something in his life was missing, like parents. So one day after winning $50 from a Pong tournament, I kid you, I am not making this stuff up, Chuck bought himself a bus ticket to New York and ran away. Having no place to stay, he found shelter above a pizza restaurant owned by Chef Pasquale P. Pieplate. One night, when Chucky thought that Pasquale had already left,
Well, this is the weirdest story I think I've ever heard so far, because who came up with this?
Down to explore the restaurant, only to be immediately discovered by the chef. Pasquale flies into a rage, chases Chuck around the kitchen, and then corners him and raises a rolling pin, ready to strike down the death blow. Finish him! Chucky, cowering in fear, knees shaking, facing his final seconds of life, does the one and only thing that has ever brought him joy over the years. He sings. Upon hearing that the mouse could sing, Pasquale lowers his rolling pin, and then decides to pull a capitalism and exploit the mouse's talent for his own personal gain. As the story goes, quote, Pasquale was so shocked he dropped the rolling pin. A mouse that can sing? My restaurant is saved. I'm gonna make you a star. He renames his restaurant Chuck E. Cheese's, home of the world-famous singing mouse, and literally forces Chucky to perform there. The story then ends with this line, and Chucky hasn't stopped singing or smiling since. Well, yeah, because his name forces you to smile. We've already covered that. But in all seriousness, the parenthesis around the word smiling here is giving me a real serious cry for help vibe. So, that's the story of Chuck E. Cheese, an orphan rat rebranded into a mouse who's basically being held hostage and forced to sing to stay alive. Notice that Pasquale specifically calls out that his restaurant is saved after hearing Chuck E. Cheese sing, meaning that it was already on its way out.
Yeah.
Chucky was Pasquale's meal ticket. After all, notice how he didn't take any appropriate measures when he found Chucky was a runaway orphan? He didn't do anything like, alert officials that he found a runaway kid, or make any attempt at contacting the original orphanage. In Pasquale's eyes, Chucky was a means to an end, a way of getting famous. He's an animal with a talent for music, and if he ever stops attracting customers, would it really be that hard to believe that Pasquale might just decide to finish the job? It's also made clear that Pasquale isn't paying the members of his band anything beyond keeping your own life. In the video movie Chuck E. Cheese in the Galaxy 5000, we see a kid who needs some serious cash for his family's tractor.
What's the problem?
He needed some dough. He needed cash. Charlie, he needed $50,000.
Notice how little the performers are able to cough up to help him.
Come on, gang, cough it up. Don't hold him back.
Sorry, guys.
I got $2.
I got a $5.
Also notice who doesn't lay any money on the table, Pasquale.
Why do you need us, Pasquale? You've got more dough than anyone in town.
They even make mention that the performers could get jobs to help them earn money, meaning that standing up on stage performing under Pasquale's rule doesn't pay.
How are we going to get that kind of money?
We could all get jobs. I saw a help wanted sign down at the Chicken Palace.
It's here that we get...
No, the fact that this exists is crazy. Like, look how much work they had to put in just to make this, just to have this even, like, be iconic later on. Like, look at the work. Look at the work they put in.
This gem of information.
Pasquale, do you have any ideas on how we can come up with $50,000 for Charlie's aunt and uncle?
You could pay him a fair wage. That's an idea.
I'm glad you asked that question, Chucky. In a few days, a big race is going to take place.
The Galaxy 5000 is an interplanetary race on the planet Orion.
They can participate in a dangerous intergalactic space race. Didn't see that one coming, did ya? And despite it being dangerous, Pasquale is more than eager to sign him up for it. Now, talking about just this movie alone would merit its own video. Let's just say that everyone is very excited to be hanging out with each other. Chickens with mice, mice with humans, humans with multiple humans, chickens with multiple humans. The adult-time relations between characters is a bigger plot point than you'd expect for a badly CGI'd film extension to a children's restaurant mascot.
Ooh, Chucky! Race car drivers are so cool.
Get it. Fair and square.
No, I've got them. I'd appreciate it if you kept this to yourself. I didn't know that you were taking them.
Like one of the guys, right, Helen?
Oh, maybe you could say that today's race separated the mice from the men.
Sorry about your little mousy friend. We like stealing his girlfriends and beating him into races.
Side note, just wanted to take a minute to point out that Jasper the dog here is reading Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men.
Yep.
What even is this movie? Anyway, back to the point. Pasquale is holding these innocent...
It has nothing to do with the story, really, but it's just a funny, I guess, little cameo, I guess you could say. It's a good book, though, and great movie. That one scene in the movie, that was, oh my god, that one scene was crazy. I'm not gonna spoil it, but you gotta see the movie.
Animals hostage and is more than willing to sacrifice their safety if it means money for him. And that's not all. He's always wiping away any evidence of his misdeeds. Remember, he's in control of the company. This is his restaurant and his business. So is it weird that 2 months after Chuck E. Cheese's orphan story came out, one that was written by Chucky himself, the restaurant's official YouTube channel releases a video showcasing the exact same story, except with one huge difference. This one paints Pasquale in a positive light.
Found a place that served great pizza made by a funny chef with a mustache. His name was Pasquale.
My restaurant was losing money. I was
about to close my doors, Chucky offered to help me out.
Oh yeah? He offered to help you out? Was that before or after you threatened to bludgeon him with a rolling pin? And don't you for a minute think that this is some sort of corporate rebrand or anything.
He
This
knew what he
is
was doing.
Pasquale actively gaslighting us and Chucky. In another video on the YouTube channel, the cast is looking at a photo album of past memories. In it, we get this.
Remember that time we went to the moon eating moon cheese? That was a really good time. Wait, we never. Here we are helping a Benjamin Franklin discover electricity. We
It's
never.
all lies. The photo album is filled with lies. Pasquale is feeding them false memories. For now, at least. You see, I think Chucky's days are numbered. Pasquale now knows that his star mouse is becoming a liability, not only telling the dirty secrets of his backstory, but also...
Yeah, his fame, that and his fame is declining. It wasn't as great as it was back then.
So drawing in mouse is becoming a liability, not only telling the dirty secrets of his backstory, but also drawing in fewer customers by the year with his singing. That's why in mid-2020, Pasquale decided to relaunch his own self-named brand, Pasquale's Pizza and Wings. It's the same food as Chuck E. Cheese, but delivered. A ghost kitchen that is owned and operated and starring him. Pasquale saw that Chucky's side of the story had the potential of bringing bad press. He knew that having his name linked to the attempted murder of everyone's favorite mouse wouldn't be so good. So Pasquale did the one thing that he could do. He used the company's platforms to release a version of the story which painted him in a better light, all while building his own personal brand on the side. And the true motive for all of it? Well, as we see on the website for Chuck E. Cheese in Jordan, the country of Jordan, Pasquale's a man who dreams of being the best pizza maker and entertainer the world has ever seen. But for years, he's played second fiddle to the rats. No more. Chuck E. served his purpose in the beginning. He was a way for Pasquale to get famous, and now that Chuck E. Cheese's brand is known the world over, it's time for Pasquale to make his move. He knows that he can't achieve his dreams if Chucky stays in the picture, but he also just can't get rid of him either without people noticing. He needs a way to get out of Chucky's shadow without drawing too much attention. Relaunching Pasquale's Pizza would be his only chance at branching out, a way that he could finally shake the Chuck E. Cheese moniker and make a name for himself before finally closing the curtain on the rat. I mean, let's be honest. Over the years, the Chuck E. Cheese brand has had a total of 32 different members
she's missing
go
now?
missing from
Wow.
the lineup. Where'd they all go? Pasquale sure seemed in a hurry to get rid of them. And
I didn't know that
weird
either.
Helen, Jasper, and Mr. Munch didn't call out the fake memories when they were looking at that album earlier. It's because they know better. They know that they have to play along. That's how they've lasted so long. But Chuck, he's the one calling out the mistruths. He's the one out of the loop. And pretty soon, he's going to be cut out of a lot more than that. But hey, do you like getting free stuff just for buying things? I mean, you're already spending money, so why not get even more
Is
out
this
of that
a
purchase? Well, our sponsor for
sponsor?
today's
Yep.
episode, Fetch, is a totally free...
Hey, man. Get your bread up.
Retail stores, it works. Restaurants. Which, you know, it's going to be nice if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're buying 12 separate pies to see whether they're reusing other customers' pizzas. Don't know if you've ever found yourself in that very specific situation, but in case you do, Fetch is there for you. So if you want to get more out of the money food theory, F-O-O-D-T-H-E,
Video is basically over.
is on Fetch at code points just day, and as always,
Yeah.
remember, it's just a theory.
W video, I'm not gonna hold you. He's pointing out a lot of stuff that I didn't either catch or I didn't know. Basically, I didn't know the whole backstory on Chuck E. Cheese, like how he even ended up as, I guess, being the star of the whole restaurant and everything like that. But it wasn't even his restaurant to begin with. But that's crazy. Hold on. Okay, the food theorist. I can't even say it right now. But shout out this channel, man. This I seen I think one or two videos before on this channel that had to do with Finance at Freddy's. Hey, those were good videos. I'm not gonna lie, those were good videos. But yeah, there you have it. The disturbing lore of Chuck E. Cheese. If you like this video, leave a comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time.